Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be talking about something that is the elephant in the room, and that is Daybreak Games is suing the two founders of the hero's journey. So I'm quite sure that you've already heard this. If you're an EverQuest player at all, it seems like it's been nothing but this on the Discord, the forums, the Reddit, everything else. But I'm seeing quite a bit of misinformation going around as well. So I'm going to try to clear this up. By no means, I'm not a lawyer. I am not offering legal advice in any way. I am not a founder, a coder in any way, shape, or form. I don't really have a whole lot of dog in this fight other than the fact that I am a staunch promoter, obviously, of the hero's journey. I absolutely love the server itself. I think that they have done phenomenal things. And I'm going to keep playing, obviously, until the day the server either goes down or they decide to move on to a different project on, another game or something like that, which at that point I'd follow them over there too. The guys are just, they're worthy of that. But what we're going to be looking at here, while I just do a little bit of running the sleeper and things like that, is, look, Daybreak Games filed a actual district court for the U.S. Southern District, California on June 14th, case number 3:25-CV-01489. It looks like they are claiming that THJ's Emulator infringes on their EverQuest copyrights and trademarks. The complaint specifically names founders, going to keep that redacted, the two founders' names, along with other unnamed collaborators. It looks like there's either going to be between 1 and 20 of these unnamed collaborators. I don't know if that's going to be people that helped them with the code, people that were in on the project to begin with. I mean, obviously it doesn't say. So there have been a tremendous amount of public responses to this. Now, those public responses are not Daybreak coming out with a PR team or like that. It's mainly people on the Reddit that are responding. Obviously, you've got your conspiracy theorists on the Reddit that are saying all kinds of other stuff. You got your people out there that got their degree, in being a lawyer from Google, and then they're going on there giving everybody legal counsel and all the other stuff. But the honest to God truth is, at this point, I feel like it is the initial stages of it. They literally just filed the court thing on the 14th of June, and so I mean, there's not going to be a whole lot that you can really go into right now, other than the fact that it does seem that Daybreak did request to seal key documents and try to get a temporary restraining order to keep details of the case open to the public. So they did not want this case open to you guys to be able to see. They thought that it would get too much scrutiny, and I think that they're absolutely right. They have consistently disappointed with their TLP rules. And their last one was just a hit in the face to all of the actual players that literally, I feel like just reading the forums for 2 seconds would show that they basically asked for everything other than what the Daybreak provided on their TLP. So knowing that THJ was out there and then releasing a TLP that is literally not going to garnish any additional people wanting to play it because your rule set sucks is a colada for just, well, what's happening right now. I mean, obviously they're getting kind of pissy that, they're losing player base over to a server that listens to its players and implements something that people will actually enjoy playing. But be that as it may, as of right now, it's an ongoing lawsuit. The judge will decide whether or not THJ must either shut down, pay damages, or defend the emulator as fair use or another exception. So pretrial motions and hearings are likely in the coming weeks or months, but obviously, as I said, that's all up to the two people listed there and Daybreak coming to some form of agreement beforehand. If not, it will actually go to trial. So Daybreak is actually going to be suing the developers behind the hero's journey for a copyright and trademark infringement. The case is currently active, and initial motions about sealing documents, blah, 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 they've all been denied. So legal filings and the timeline on this are iffy. Like I said, it really depends on what the two parties do in the initial stages here. If they can come to some form of agreement, it's going to cut down the timeline on this tremendously. And if they don't, we all know how the legal system works. It takes a long time to do anything. Filing motions takes weeks, all the other stuff. But obviously, the complaint from them on June 16th says systematic and deliberate copyright and trademark infringement. So it again names the two founders here of the hero's journey, and again goes over the fact that the court and the judge denied their ability to get the restraining order and, of course, to seal the files. So that right there, in my opinion, is a pretty good excerpt that the judge looked at that and said, no, we're not going to, we don't have the grounds here to seal anything or file that. So, but Daybreak is alleging that the hero's journey creates, develops, distributes, and promotes unauthorized EverQuest emulator, infringing on their intellectual property, including copyrighted content and trademarks. The requested TRO and sealing was failed because of potential destruction and evidence of hiding assets. It was too speculative and unsupported by concrete facts to be accepted. So basically, I feel like it's going to come down to timing. Now, granted, I don't think that there's going to be a court or a judge out there that's going to say, hey, if you are doing something illegal, now that it's hurting you, it's just like you only wanted to do it because it's hurting. I mean, if it's illegal, it's illegal, and they'll probably, move forward to shut down or severely restrict. But there are so many EverQuest emulators out there. There's open source information out there. There's everything. So I don't really understand why, obviously this is just me thinking, but I don't understand why this is such a big deal right now. Like, why are they coming after them right now? It's got to be the time frame that their TLP is a bust, and they're seeing so many players, on forums and on everything else, flocking to THJ. And this is a server where you play one character. You can have another character in like the Bazaar or something for buffing, but you play one character at a time and you conquer content. Whereas on EverQuest Live or these TLPs, you're seeing people that are paying for 6 subscriptions to be able to fully box a group of players. Well, you get 100 players to leave that are paying, $15 a month times 6. You've got, almost $100 per player, and you get 100 players to leave. It starts to add up. Starts to add up quick, So I don't know how much Daybreak's looking to pump into this lawsuit to, I guess, in their opinion, attempt to shut down something that is intellectually their property or whatever it may be. I think it's just absolute jealousy, intellectual jealousy. But I mean, it is what it is. I do know that just based on the Discord and stuff, the THJ founders have got a pretty good lawyer on their team here. A copyright lawyer and all that kind of stuff. So we'll have to see how that goes. But the community reaction has been crazy. You're seeing Discord explode with support, Reddit explode with support, back and forth between players. Now, granted, you're seeing, I'm seeing this in other Discords as well. There's been several people banned or silenced from the official EverQuest Discord today for just speaking their mind on the issue, not being vulgar, not being anything other than the fact that they're saying, I don't understand why you guys are coming after him now, after they've been around for, half a year or more. But all of a sudden, it's just, it's very convenient, to say the least, that now it's a problem, So I think that that's kind of what everybody's kind of asking and kind of getting down to the nitty gritty of it. So let's see here. So the case will advance through the pretrial proceedings, including motions to dismiss or for summary judgment. Of course, they're going to file a motion to dismiss. That's something that I feel like, it happens all the time. If you don't file a motion to dismiss in this case, you don't even give the judge the option to look at the fact that there's just not substantial evidence that this is harming EverQuest in any way. But then, of course, if they don't dismiss it and it goes into actual, pretrial, then they'll start the discovery process where evidence will be exchanged on both parties, showing more than likely, pushing forward the fact that this is a donation only server. I have never even seen them push once to say, hey guys, don't forget to donate. I've never seen them do it once. I've never seen them do a sale on anything that they're doing donation wise. Like, hey, you'll get XYZ more if you donate now. I've never even seen that on this server, which I've seen on a tremendous amount of other servers on different kinds of games, like, you know, obviously Ultima Online. You've got a couple different Dark Age of Camelot games. You've got all kinds of different games out there for MMOs, and there is a whole slew of Blizzard games out there that do private emulation that sell. And I'm not talking about donations. I'm talking about selling different things for like weapon skins, things like that. So from what I understand, the only things that you can trade AOE or EOMs for, is going to be like bags, a couple of different traded items that you can turn into a troll, or, you know, something that realistically it's not game changing whatsoever. The bags are nice, but other than making it more convenient to trade your gear into the vendor, there's nothing that would motivate anyone to be like, to think that this is something that you're paying for as a premium service. You're donating and you're getting something in return for you showing your support to a server that is literally being developed by like a very, very small team and has had this kind of success. I can also see where you would find extreme amounts of jealousy if you were running a company with thousands of employees and you had a small team, handful of people that were developing something that was taking your, you know, your subscriber base away. I'm sure that is just a wonderful board meeting on Saturday that they have every Saturday of the month, talking about how many more players they've lost to, you know, whatever. But I can't imagine it, but I'm sure it's something that is definitely going on there. So the probabilities of this case are very simple. Very difficult to speculate though, but it's going to go, you know, probably one of two ways. That it's either going to get the server shut down, there's going to be a settlement outside of court during that, or THJ is going to be able to fight, saying that this is a non-commercial fan project, you know, we don't have access to the original code, something of that sort, that is going to push it in their favor. But I do know that there are several different cases of copyright that has been kind of established over the last few years. I know Blizzard has done a couple. I know Nintendo did one with the big emulators for Nintendo. And those, you know, obviously they all got shut down. I believe the name was Nostralius. I don't remember the exact other name of the server. But if it goes to trial, I mean, even if Daybreak was in the wrong, I'm pretty sure that Daybreak's going to have more funds to push it. Now, I don't know if these guys that are running the THJ or, you know, trust fund kids or something, who knows, maybe they've got just bukus of money and they got it burning a hole in their pocket. I have no idea. But typically big corporations like Daybreak, they're going to be able to have deeper pockets, lawyers on retainer that, you know, they got nothing better to do but go to court all the time. And so it's just something to kind of, you know, keep in the back of your mind. Now, in the same sense, these guys that run THJ, they're very intelligent. So going into a fan project like this, not having a backup plan for something that could happen like this is probably not something that they did. They probably went in full well knowing that, you know, this day could come, and probably had an option B, option C, option D in their pocket the whole time, which might be why they were able to secure counsel so quickly with a guy that has a reputation for being, you know, the O.J. Simpson lawyer of copyright material. So I think that's going to be pretty cool there. They've definitely got, you know, a big heavy hitter in their ring. But the founders of THJ, I mean, it's possible that they could owe damages. I mean, it really is. If they monetize the server via donations, and that kind of weakens any kind of fair use defense that they might have. But in the same sense, obviously, they could use that in the same, you know, in the same court there, double-edged defense, that they didn't take any actual, you know, money from players based on a service. They only asked, or they only received donations based off free will players wanting to support a fan-made project. So like I said, I'm not a lawyer, I'm not a judge, I don't sit in courtrooms and watch this stuff, I'm not a Judge Judy watcher, I don't know any of this stuff, but I have looked up as much as I can on this just because it's very interesting to me, and I am just trying to get my head wrapped around this, to where obviously Project Quorum, really big EverQuest server, after P99 kind of went the way of the dodo, not a whole lot of players over there anymore. It got saturated with nothing but in-game and, you know, hoop socking raiders. So Quorum came out, and it was much more of a family-friendly, like dad friendly, server where you didn't have to invest so much time, instanced rating, no bat phoning at 3 a.m. because something spawned and you had to have your maze there already for, call the heroes and stuff. And you can't tell I played on Pin 89 for a while. It was a nightmare for a bit, but, Quorum shut down. I know that the owner over there, the guy that runs it, or the girl who runs it, I don't know if it's a guy or girl. Name is regardless. They shut it down. I don't know if it's out of fear. Just kind of backpedaled on that, shut it down, brought it back up for who knows how long today, and then shut it right back down. In the same sense, I understand completely that there would be some fear in this. A big old company like Daybreak coming in and saying, "Hey, we're going after this server," and knowing that your server, while not in the same principle as like EOMs, things like that, your server still does accept donations. So, could you be in the same, obviously lawsuit later on, because it does clearly state that this is the initial part of this. I mean, there's no telling if there's going to be more names, more emulated servers, more this, that coming into this lawsuit. So I definitely get shutting down out of fear for that. In the same sense, it really sucks to all of the player base out there that put in extended amounts of hours. Obviously, EverQuest it's a very grindy game. You're not getting anywhere near the end unless you're putting in substantial amount of work hours, time. So having all that just stripped away from you extremely quickly would suck, no question there. But I mean, it is what it is. I understand at this point you've got to do what you feel protects you, and if you don't have the ability to go into court with with some kind of representation against a team of lawyers with Daybreak, I mean, I'm sure that's got to be kind of scary. So but it looks like there's a pretty good opportunity that THJ will either be shut down or voluntary or forced offline. There could be a settlement with Daybreak. More than likely, if there is a settlement with Daybreak, we'll never know about it. It'll be with NDAs, which is a non-disclosure agreement, and the actual player base will never know. If they do find out, obviously, from the people that sign the NDAs, that in itself is an extremely bad thing. You don't want to do that. So I would definitely say don't look forward to getting any information if for some reason the server does get shut down. I mean, if it gets shut down, that's going to be probably the last you hear of it. But obviously, I don't see this, putting any jail time or anything on anybody. I don't see that. There could be financial damages that get torn back into the founders of this server, but at the end of the day, they're going to ask for a certain amount. I don't see, based off the other, court cases I've looked up, I don't see them getting that. I see them either being highly negotiated down to a very, very small settlement. And that's just going to show precedent to other EMU servers like, hey, you may have to pay money if you keep doing this. And that's going to scare a lot of these server owners into shutting down. However, the guys that are running this server, I mean, honestly, I don't think they could pass through a metal detector with the balls they've got on these brass balls. But I mean, they're going for it. They're not backing down. So the timeline on this is like I said, it gets kind of iffy because there are so many different factors coming in. But it started on June 14th. That was the initial complaint. Preliminary motions typically take 1 to 3 months. The motions already underway were the TRO and the sealing requests. They were denied, obviously. Typically your discovery will be 4 to 8 months. So right after the preliminary motions, they're going to exchange documents, emails, probably go into different kind of server codes, finances. I mean, it could get down to the pixel effects on the spells being used. Honestly, it's just going to be one of those things where they go into discovery, and you're going to have motions for summary judgment. That's going to be for either side to try to win before trial. So there could be either an agreement, there could be, people running out of funding, obviously, for this kind of stuff. That's what a lot of these big companies do, is they'll just run you into the ground until you can't afford it anymore, with extensions and all kinds of other things, big threats, big numbers. And at that point, I mean, obviously some people that just don't have the financial backing will leave. There's no reason to lose everything over something in most cases, whenever you don't have to. But after that, you're going to see settlement talks. That's going to go on from probably now until the end, to be honest with you. I don't see any reason why there wouldn't be settlement talks. So Daybreak is going to obviously want to talk to the owners of THJ and try to get THJ to settle with them before this goes to trial with some form of negotiation, saying, hey, if you just shut it down right now, we won't hit you with this $200,000 lawsuit, blah, 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 blah. And then, of course, the owners of THJ will have the opportunity to say, hey, you know what? I don't have to pay any money, so maybe I do want to just shut it down. Or they might just say, hey, from what we can see here and from what our lawyer is telling us, you don't have anything on us. So we're using an open source code. We have only accepted donations. You can't find anywhere that states that we want to sell items for monetary gain, and move from there. But I mean, obviously at that point, if there's no settlement, no negotiations there, then it will go to trial, and that will be anywhere between 12 and 24 months from now. It is possible. It's very rare in these kind of cases. Typically, these are going to be settled before that, but I mean, it is what it is. So, I'm hoping that the THJ lawyer is up for a fight. I really am, and I'm hoping that he goes in there and kind of pushes Daybreak back into where they kind of have to take some responsibility on why they're losing players. Their game has been around for 25 plus years now. So the fact that they're losing players now, that people that have been loyal for 25, 26 years, is not because THJ came out. It's just not. THJ is a phenomenal server. It really is. But THJ, in my opinion, as good as it is, it's the cake you get after dinner. It is a wonderful thing. It's a wonderful thing. But you could still easily play EverQuest if they brought out content that people wanted to play and play THJ. Easily. You could have both your dinner and dessert at the same time. You don't have to just eat the cake. You don't have to. You could easily play THJ, have a great time, and then go and play, mainstream EverQuest, the new TLP server, the new whatever, whenever you felt like it. But they keep on pigeonholing their content and going against what the players want. And I don't know if it's just a lack of vision, or the people that are reading the forums aren't, showing that to the people behind the desk making the decisions. But THJ forums are full of the owners looking at what the players want and making adjustments to that. Even if they're adjustments that some players may not like, at the end of the day, they are adjustments that most players, even if they're a negative, effect on the player, like for example, my Bard, whenever they got nerfed because of the, twin cast on this, you get it. It sucks at the time because you're like, oh man, my guy got worse. But at the end of the day, you're like, well, that's because he was way better than he should have been, Whereas EverQuest, you've got the TLPs coming out, and you've got forum after forum after forum of people telling you exactly what they want to be able to have a huge amount of players come on there, have a great time, spend some people 16 hours a day sitting there busting it in, and you're going to have your whales go in there, buy up every chrono you can possibly have, and vice, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And they didn't do that. So if you're sitting around right now at Daybreak Games and you're thinking, oh, the reason that we're failing is because of THJ, you need to step back and you need to look at your forums. You need to look at your database. You need to look at the player talk, that you can see in any kind of forum you possibly can online. And you need to come to the conclusion that if we listen to our players and produce better content, the people that have been playing EverQuest for 26 years would still be playing EverQuest and not coming over to THJ, or not going over to Quorum, or not going over to P99, or whatever the other servers may be. There's a bunch of them. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't know. I really hope that THJ just wipes them in court. I really do. It looks like everything I can find, though, obviously. Is there still a really good chance that THJ is going to win? Sure. Is there a good chance that Daybreak Games goes in there and shuts them down because they can just outspend them, or they come to some kind of an agreement, just based on the fact that there's, if there's like $250,000 in the line or something crazy, which I doubt it'd be that much, but even if it's 20 grand on a fan-made project, if they say, hey, we're going to get you for 20 grand, or you can just shut the thing down, I don't know what they do. Do you know what you do with that situation? I don't know. I don't know if these guys got families, they got food on the table. I don't know what they got to do with that. So at the end of the day, it's all going to be down to what they want to do. So, but that's the, the breakdown that I've got. That's, in my opinion, that is going to be as accurate as I can possibly find on this stuff. There's a lot of misinformation out there that it's with everything. There's misinformation with everything, but this is as accurate as I could possibly find, down to the timeline. So if you guys have any questions, hit me in the comments. If you've got anything that you want to say that I was wrong on, please hit me in the comments as well. Just kind of, if you can, you don't have to, I'll look it up if I have to, but if you can, show me why you came to that conclusion, just so I'm not sitting here thinking, oh man, this guy's telling me I'm wrong, and guess I'll just believe him, because it's on the internet. But just keep your head up. If you are playing THJ, it looks like if they don't want to settle, the trial on this thing could be up to 2 years away. So continue playing, having fun. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to continue having my fun times. I'm going to continue looking forward to the game modes, solo self-found and everything else. And, up until that point, I'm going to be a loyal gamer here on the hero's journey. So all right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. If you guys have any questions, again, please hit me up. Please subscribe, and I'll try to get you guys up on any more information we've got here. But other than that, see you guys in the next video.